Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek podcast.
Hey, this is Rich McDonald, and I play Commander David Mason on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And you're listening to Everything Geek podcast.
It's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and
Master Plo Koon
in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Everything Geek, the podcast.
Hey, it's Leif Gaffert. I played Uncle Ben's killer in The Amazing Spider-Man, and you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek Podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek Podcast.
You're listening to the Everything Geek Podcast, bringing you interviews from your favorite films and TV shows every week, and all of the latest news. Here's your host, Ruari Williamson.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast. I'm your host Ruari, and joining me today is a very special guest. We have actor Robin Lord Taylor, who stars as Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin in Gotham. His other notable roles include Sam in The Walking Dead, Abernathy Darwin Dunlap in Accepted, Jeff Williams in Another Earth, Julian in Would You Rather, Quincy in Cold Comes the Night, and the voice of the Outsider in Dishonored 2. How are you today, sir?
I'm wonderful. It's great to talk to you.
It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
Fantastic.
So, getting right into my questions, Robin, just for some background information for some of our listeners that may not be aware of your background, can you tell us how you got into acting?
Well, yes. I grew up in a very small town in the Midwest in the United States, and yeah, I wasn't very athletically inclined, to say the least. And I went to a school where athletics were very important to everybody. But I discovered soon that my outlet was the arts. I started acting in plays in my middle school and then in my high school, and I also participated in band and choir. And I really found a home there. And when I applied to university, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and the university that I wanted to go to required that you declare your major, your focus, when you apply. And just on a whim, the only thing I could think that I enjoyed doing was acting, was theater, and with the intention of changing it should it not work out. But thankfully, when I went to university, it all sort of locked into place, and I knew that this was going to be what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and that's really the very important thing about university, isn't it? Like, it's that time in your life where you know, this is something I definitely want to do for the rest of my life.
Exactly, and there are opportunities that I found there that I never would have found back where I grew up. I mean, I went to university, a large school in Chicago, which is near to where I grew up, but not in the same town or even the same state. And Chicago, is a very cosmopolitan, a huge city with lots of arts and a lot of opportunities there that, again, I couldn't have found back at home. And the other great thing about university is that you have people coming from all different backgrounds, from all over the world, really. And, the different kinds of characters that you meet at school, the different friends that you meet that, again, you never would have made had I not left my hometown, all of that propelled me into the career that I'm in now. And, it's a testament to where I went to school and also to the people that I went to school with. University, that is.
Yeah, definitely. That's really great. Now, for the sake of our listeners, of course, it goes without saying, but we will be discussing Gotham spoilers from the latest episode, so just want to put that there, just for the sake of anyone who isn't caught up. So
It's impossible. It's impossible to talk at all about the show without spoiling something for someone, that's for sure.
Yeah, totally. But I've had moments where I've forgotten to say spoiler alert before, and no one's called me out on it yet, but I just want to put it out there.
Okay, well, let's not have it happen on this one. Yes, good thinking.
Thank you. So in the previous episode, we see that Oswald gets betrayed by his longtime loyal follower Gabe, but he gets a new friend and ally in Ivy. We also know from the preview for the next episode that they'll team up with some of the Indian Hill escapees. Firefly and Mr. Freeze can be seen in the preview. How would you describe Oswald's relationship with Ivy and the Indian Hill escapees he teams up with?
I would say, well, first of all, his relationship with Ivy is a very, obviously unlikely friendship. But what I love about it is that the two characters, Penguin and Ivy, could not be more different. I mean, Oswald is a very cynical, manipulative, scheming person who's constantly thinking about, plots against him, plots against other people. Then you have Ivy, who is essentially a 13-year-old girl in the body of a woman. She, because of an experience that she had, she was aged rapidly. And so she's still just an absolute innocent child. But for some reason, she opens his eyes to new possibilities and also allows him to trust people again, which, this is something that after everything that happened with Oswald and Edward Nygma, just being able to trust anyone at all is extremely important. His trust in his friend Gabe, who had always been there before, is now completely gone. And so the only person left there is Ivy. Then also there are the escapees from Indian Hill. And what I enjoy about that connection between Oswald and those people, Firefly and Mr. Freeze, is that when Oswald at the beginning of the season was running for mayor, his campaign was about persecuting those people and about, persecuting people who were different, the monsters, labeling them monsters, and then blaming all of the ills of Gotham City on those people. I find it very ironic that when Oswald is not mayor anymore, when he loses everything, the only people that he can trust, that he can turn to, are the people that he campaigned against. And it's a very eye-opening lesson for him to learn, I think. And also, he really finally embraces, being a quote-unquote freak, and realizing that embracing who you are and not trying to conform, is a way to find power. And he finds it within Ivy and his fellow freaks, Firefly and Mr. Freeze.
That's a really great answer, absolutely. How did you react when you read the script for the previous episode and found out about Gabe's betrayal?
I felt, heartbroken. I mean, not because of, Gabe, but no, I've said before that, people ask me often what the hardest thing about, doing the show is. And it's about, it honestly, and this has happened to my character several times, it's when, one of our regular actors dies, when the character dies, you not only say goodbye to the character, but in some ways you kind of say goodbye to the actor. I mean, I will always be friends with Alex, who's a great guy who plays Gabe, and also, the numerous other actors that I've had the pleasure of working with who are not on our show anymore. But yeah, it's this weird place where, like, the real and the fake, kind of correspond in this weird way. It's like, it's sad that I won't be able to work with these amazing, lovely people, Alex Corrado included. It just always kind of breaks my heart when I read that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Which would you say has been the most challenging episode of Gotham for you to film so far?
Oh my goodness. The most challenging episodes for me so far. Oh, that's difficult. I would probably say the finale of season 3. And I think a lot of that is not necessarily because of the storyline, although the storyline, it's one of the most intense episodes that we've filmed so far, especially where my character is confirmed. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of different plotting and moments that all build upon each other. And so keeping all of that straight was tricky. But also, it's the last episode of 9 months of filming, and 9 months, also not including the other 18 months of the previous 2 seasons. It's really like, it's exhausting, but it's at the same time, if it weren't exhausting, it wouldn't be as satisfying and gratifying of a job. So, it's a double-edged sword. It was the most difficult episode, but often the most difficult episodes tend to be the most personally and emotionally fulfilling episodes to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. It's just a lot of hard work coming together and finally seeing the result on screen.
Exactly. It's just a culmination of not just the actors' hard work. I mean, our amazing, wonderful crew. They work so much harder than all of us put together, and it's to see it's like all of us coming to the finish line at the same time is really an amazing and an exhausting feeling. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think fans should be most excited about for the remaining episodes in the third season?
I would say I think what people should be most excited about is the interplay of the classic characters that we've established. And, this goes for all of our regular season regulars on our show. All of us are confronted with, people from our past, people from our future, and also like iconic moments in our characters' lives that will define these characters for the rest of time. And I think, our show, every season we've done this, but because it's the third season, it feels even more so. A lot of balls are thrown into the air at the beginning of the season, and until the very last episode of the season, you don't know how they're going to come down. And I'll just have to say, the way all of the balls come down in this episode is in the final episodes is incredibly satisfying. It's something I'm very, very proud of our writers for accomplishing.
That's really great. Well, it makes me even more excited to see it now.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Now, of course, you were mentioning a bit earlier that, of course, earlier in the season, Oswald was running for mayor. We've also had his relationship with Nigma, and, of course, now his team up with Ivy and the Indian Hill Escapees. Have you enjoyed getting to develop Oswald over the course of the show so far?
It's been one of the most gratifying, if not the most gratifying, or it's hard for me to say I'm proud of myself, but I am proud of myself in terms of this character. I mean, as an actor, you want to play, you want to play a character, you want to play a human being going through all different kinds of situations, and then to see, and with this character in particular, I've been given every single toy in the toy box to play with. I mean, he's gone through every, so many like intense human experiences just in these 3 seasons. I think I'm incredibly proud of that, and I feel like I've been given the biggest gift an actor could be given, and that's just the freedom to play and to create and to show this classic character who's been around for many, many, many years, to show him in a new light and sort of breathe, a new life into this character that's, again, part of popular culture and will forever be. Just to have a little hand in playing that, it's just a dream come true.
Definitely. Now, finally, for my questions, Robin, aside from the ongoing season of Gotham, do you have any other upcoming acting roles or other projects you would like to talk about? I have nothing directly happening. There are some films that I've shot over the last couple of years that are hitting the festival circuit soon. So I would just, encourage people to look for those. And here, we're just crossing our fingers, hoping for a 4th season of Gotham. I mean, it's an amazing thing to be a part of. And, we shoot the show in New York City, and I live in New York City, and it's the best place in the world. And I feel so lucky and fortunate to be part of this. If this could go on for as long as it could, that'd be a dream come true. Yeah, definitely. I'm keeping my fingers crossed as well.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Now, I think we have a minute left, so if it's okay with you, I might ask you 1 or 2 listener questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
So,
yes, of course.
Zach Arnold would like to know, how do you put yourself in the mood for a role like the Penguin?
Oh man, well, it all starts with the writing, and the character. I cannot take credit for creating this character. I give that credit to Bruno Heller and Danny Cannon. It was very clear, who this person was. Right when I read the very first page on the very first day I got the script, it was just crystal clear. And I actually have to say, like, I'm lucky. My transformation is as much physical as it is emotional. When I show up to work, I go through about 45 minutes to an hour of makeup where they put the prosthetic nose on, and then I go to the hair room and they put, as Barbara Keene calls it, the disco vampire thing to my hair. We get that done, and then I put on these beautiful, beautiful costumes that are just the most amazing, pieces of clothing I've ever worn in my entire life. And all of that coming together, that process, I treat that it's a little sacred for me. It's sort of the process and way at which I get into the skin of Oswald. Like, all of those pieces come together and form different parts about that character. And once it's all there, it's just, I feel like I'm just, stepped into his soul. And that's, I'm very fortunate. Like, the physical transformation really helps me with the emotional and the mental transformation as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, that's all of our questions for you today, Robin. It's been a pleasure talking to you on the podcast.
Likewise, my friend. All the best to your listeners. Thank you so much for supporting our show. It's just, without you guys, it wouldn't exist. So I can't thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
You're very welcome, and hopefully we can talk to you again sometime.
Anytime. I would love it.
Yeah, so we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks again, and take care.
Cheers,
Bye.
thanks. Okay, bye-bye.
Gotham airs Mondays on Fox at 8/7 Central. The show's next episode airs tonight and is titled The Primal Riddle. Make sure to check out our podcast links. Check out our website, website.everythinggeekpodcast.com/EGP. Check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/everythinggeekcast. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/everythinggeekp. Check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/official everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our Mixcloud profile, www.mixcloud.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Email us at the following email, everythinggeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our companion podcast, Everything Geek Comiccast, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekcomiccast. Make sure to check out the hosts' YouTube channels. Mine is www.youtube.com/user/septusdestroyers. Check out Robin Lord Taylor on Twitter, twitter.com/Robin Lord Taylor, and check out channel 1138 where we broadcast live from, www.channel1138.com. Geeks out, everyone.
I would say actually that there's a tie between two. I would say one of them hasn't aired yet, so I can't talk too much about it, but one of them has. One of them was in season 2, episode...
Of my life, but I also felt kind of betrayed because my manager and mom knew from 9 that morning that I got it, and they didn't tell me. And I was like, what the heck? I was waiting all day. So that's what I did. I internally